This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. What a Thursday show, right? This had to be the best one of the week so far, and we got another day to go. Colin says his boy, Tom Terrific, is setting a new quarterback standard and should continue to play as long as he can dominate. And really, who could argue, even though Colin was a couple weeks ago saying, Jimmy Garoppolo. Whitlock believes the criticism of Roger Goodell is a little over the top. And you have to hear Michael Bennett fire back. Boy, Michael Bennett on this show proved that he's got a big-time future in TV. He was on fire. Ray Lewis stops by to talk Thursday Night Football. Greg Jennings of Fox Sports 1 stops by. I mean, it was off the hook today. Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, was here. And, of course, my pal, Carissa Thompson. Not only does she throw good Super Bowl parties, but she stops by to call Tom Brady the hot girl that is really nice. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Colin and Jason, take it away.
Hello and welcome to Speak For Yourself, presented by Sony PlayStation View. I am Jason Whitlock. That is Colin Cowherd. We are live from Discovery Green in Houston for Super Bowl 51. Sitting in between Colin and I is Seattle Seahawks great Michael Bennett. Colin, when I first looked at Michael Bennett, I don't know if you remember the first episode of Roots. O.J. Simpson had a role in Roots, and I was like, damn. And then I was like, hey man, our hair and makeup people could have cleaned you up a little bit, dog. I mean, I could have loaned them.
When I saw you, I was like, is Carl Winslow on TV now?
He is. All right, we also have Chris Carter, the Hall of Famer. Chris hates it when I say this, but we also got my favorite player, other than Jim Brown in NFL history, Ray Lewis. We have a great show planned for you. Let's start with Tom Brady, who has said he plans to play until he's 45 years old. Now Warren Moon, a quarterback, a Hall of Famer and a quarterback, who's played to the ripe old age of 44, says Brady could do it, but added that if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, Brady's going to have to find something new to motivate him. Colin, if Brady wins this record fifth Super Bowl, should he consider retirement?
No, for a lot of reasons. Number one is I could make the argument with nutritional and training standards, 40 is now 35. You can see it in Hollywood. Actors age better.
They use Botox.
Well, he may be using arm Botox. But when I look at athletes today, even in the NBA, Dwayne Wade's erosion is much slower than guards I grew up watching. Secondly, it's not just about Super Bowls now. Warren Moon, who was my favorite player, because I grew up in Seattle with the Washington Huskies, there are rare instances. Some people, the DNA gods just gave him a lot of gifts. And Tom hasn't always played with great backs, hasn't always played with great receivers, but he's played with really good offensive lines. It's a bubble screen league. Tom doesn't get hit much. This is a young 39-year-old quarterback.
What about going out on top? What about going out the way Jim Brown went out, the way John Elway went out? What about going out relatively injury-free? They don't have Michael Bennett coming after him when he's 40, 41. He's one hit away. Why not? Fifth Super Bowl? Why not retire?
Because he's chasing something nobody's ever chased before. He's setting the new standard. That's what Tom Brady's about. He's setting a whole new standard. What if he wins 10 Super Bowls? What if he wins 11 Super Bowls? That's the kind of man he is. He's chasing something greater than any of the other players has tried to do before.
Ray, you faced this situation not long ago. You went out on top.
Yeah, I mean, look, I talked to Tom about this. This was funny. At the Super Bowl 2 years ago, Carolina and Denver, I'm watching at the MVP salute. And so we're sitting there, and I said, how many more years you gonna go? He said, man, I'm gonna go another 5. And I looked at him and I saw he was really serious. I think for me, it was a little bit different because my kids are older. And the last phone call that I got that changed my perspective on if I wanted to keep playing was my son said, Dad, we have our championship game on Friday night. And my son's a senior high school, and I'm saying, wait a minute. I done played 17 years, 16, 17 years. My son just told me he playing his last high school game. My father's never saw one of my high school games. And I'm like, I can't fight with that anymore. Like, so for me, I gave up the game because I wanted to be there for my kids to chase them.
You were also in the collision business.
Yeah.
So were you. And
Brady's
so
not. Brady's not.
Tom's in the whatever business that is.
Get hit.
Occasionally, and I mean
They hurt.
occasionally.
But he's also the quarterback that slides. These young quarterbacks, they all want to be fancy. They all want to be spin moves. Tom Brady's like, I'm about to get sacked. Sorry, Belichick. We'll do it on the next down.
Listen,
Yeah, he'll drop quick.
Tom Brady's got a great life. And, you know, I pose no judgment to no man when it's come to playing football. I played football. It's easy for us to sit over here and be like, hey, you know something? You should walk out of that spotlight. Like, you should go do something else. Like, when you retire from the National Football League, every job you get is second or third or fourth choice. Ray quit, I'm going to tell you why. He got knocked out the game, all right? His son was calling, fatherhood was calling him, but that body was calling him too. Jim Brown walked out on top. The rest of them, John Elway, he got knocked out. He couldn't play. John Elway couldn't run anymore. John Elway's knees were gone. All right, Tom Brady is sitting upright. He's playing the best football of his life, and he approaches 40. Now, he should set the new standard. He should put this out there as far as it could be to let people know that the argument's not between who is the best quarterback. The next argument is who is the second best quarterback if he gets 2 more Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So if you got it, stay in the fight. Don't give up. Don't look, because there is no job. You won't be satisfied. I've had a lot of good jobs since I left the NFL. All of them none of them were nearly good, like playing where you doing that right now.
But let me be very clear.
Don't say that too much, they might fire you.
No.
This is his best job.
Okay. I got security here.
I tell you this. But make sure I clear this up. I don't care what Tom does. And every champion will tell you this. There is nothing when you leave this game ever better than having confetti drop on the top of your head to live a champion the rest of your life.
All right, let's go to Roger Goodell, who, according to the Boston Herald, basically told Patriot fans to, quote, get over Deflategate, because his answers to questions about the scandal weren't to the paper's liking. Now, the media has been hard on Goodell since long before Deflategate, and the criticism doesn't seem to be dying down anytime soon. Jason, do you believe he's unfairly criticized by the American media?
Yeah, I think we've gone too far. Look, Roger Goodell has made some mistakes. There's no question. You have a big job like that, you're going to make some mistakes. But to act like this man is incompetent, to act like, anybody could do that job is ridiculous. There have been 2 new situations that have unearthed themselves during Roger Goodell's tenure. The concussion information.
Yes.
And he's had to adjust to that, and he's tackled that issue. And then America got educated on domestic violence issues, and our awareness got raised, and he's had to be more aggressive with the players, and he made some mistakes. And I said from the get-go, when he took over trying to be judge and jury of discipline, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
I've always said a president has an attorney general because you can fire an attorney general. There's been like 45 presidents and 80-some-odd attorney generals. He tried to do both, be the president and the attorney general, and has been burning him up. But the criticism is over the top at this point. You're going to make some mistakes in that position. We cut the guy some slack.
I noticed it during, not to go political, but in the last presidency. Inflation was down, stock market tripled, housing market solid, and I drove to a gas station one day. It was like $2.40 for gas. And I remember thinking to myself, what is it, 1960? And Obama's approval rating at that time was like 44%. And I'm thinking, if we don't like him, we've just decided half the country, we just don't like him. Yeah. You find me a commissioner or a politician in Canada, New Zealand, America, England, who's popular. Social media gives everybody a voice. And the lonely and the angry and the often vile now have a voice. The only popular commissioner is Adam Silver. He's been around about an hour, and he got rid of Donald Sterling, which was summarily beloved. He needed to be out of the league. So his first move was a strong move and a right move. But let me tell you something. Let Adam Silver go 12 years. We won't like him either. That's the way it is for politicians and public figures today.
You've had some harsh things to say about Goodell from time to time. You ain't shy. What do you think of Roger?
I think if you look from the owner's perspective, he's done a great job. You look at the TV deals, look at the amount of money that the NFL is making, you got to say this guy should get a bonus. But if you're on the player side, you're like, okay, we need more protection for concussions. We need more protection. We need guaranteed contracts. So obviously I'm on the player side, not the owner side. So I'm always believing that there's more that players can get. So I definitely think there's a job he could do better for the players because there's so many people that's been in this league that don't make it 10 years, that don't make it 17 years, but they do leave with concussions. They do leave with injuries that they can't take care of. The NFL needs to take care of them. They need to make sure that they have opportunities. They need to make sure that they have jobs.
Well, one of the issues that the owners like that players don't is this Thursday night game.
Oh, yeah.
Like players, veteran players are like, this is bad optics. Because the league is so popular, issues which would be not even a topic on a radio show, we'll debate for weeks. I think the Thursday night game among players, I think players feel manipulated. I think that's the
Exploited,
issue.
I think, more.
Yeah, exploited. You're right. Exploited is the right word.
Yeah, I mean, listen. So I'm gonna stay there because that's really good where you're at right now. I think when you think about some of the things that you're speaking about, Michael, what Roger could do, right? There's no game without players, you know. And sometimes I think the owners and Mr. Goodell, sometimes they forget that. When you put these players on a Thursday night football game, I promise you, if I play on a Sunday, it takes me to the following Wednesday before I'm actually feeling good enough to go out there and have a great practice.
Right.
So if you put me back on the field immediately the next Thursday, some people play Sunday night games, then go on a Thursday game. And God forbid you have to travel. So I think some of the criticism from the player side, there are no real guarantees in the National Football League.
Yeah.
We're not like the NBA. Right? The NBA, the moment they walk in there, they're guaranteed.
And a shoe deal.
Absolutely. And all I'm saying, and to back B, all I'm saying is, Roger, if you do nothing else, anybody that comes in, do something for the players.
Yeah, that Thursday night issue, I think players feel exploited.
But players do. I mean, don't tell me you care about concussions and you want concussions to go down when you turn around and play a guy on Sunday and tell him to run his head again on Thursday. There's not enough time to, I don't know how much time it takes to get ready to not to have a concussion, but I know 3 days is not enough time.
Right. Specifically, we should have, after you're a vested player, you play 4 years in the league, you should have long-term health care.
Yes.
You shouldn't have 5 years after you retire.
Yeah.
Based on what we know the game is going to do, looking at the profitability, look at how much money Roger Goodell. See, I don't mind people criticizing him because it's a high-profile job. There's high expectations, but they're also, he has doubled the value of the franchise.
Yes.
And the players should be able to benefit more from that.
Right.
When you get in that car crash, which is an NFL game, that's what it is. It's a car crash.
Every time.
Every game is a car crash. Now, we survive a lot of car crashes, but eventually your body's going to break down. Like, I'm going to be living a lot longer than I played. I've been retired 15 years, so I ain't had no health care from the NFL for 10 years. Do I have aches and pains in my body? Absolutely. Would I do it all over again? Yes. But we should have long-term health care. Like, we deserve it.
Let me ask this, Michael, and to all the players. I think where Roger Goodell got sideways with the players, though, was about being judge and jury and punishment. And the punishment feels arbitrary. How should, or do you think the players' union did the right thing in handing that power to him or being okay with him having that power? Are you satisfied with where the NFL is in terms of dealing out punishment to players?
No, I'm not satisfied with it, but I also think that Roger Goodell is in a position that he's going to take advantage of. So as players, we need to find a position that we can take advantage of. If we want these things, we have to go out there and stand on that line and say, we want these things. If not, we're never going to get those things. If we want guaranteed contracts, it takes every single player in the league to say we want guaranteed contracts. It takes every player in the league to say we want long-term health care. Until that position happens from our side, they will keep getting their thing because guess what? They're unified. When you got all these 2,000 players, we're not unified. There's somebody that has a little creep in their mind of, I think it could be a little different. We don't have enough people.
Let me say this as a fan of football.
Yeah.
I really believe guaranteed contracts would ruin the National Football League.
I know you believe that because you're not the player.
Right. I'm with you.
Because
Absolutely, I'm with you, bro.
Because a player, when you're a competitor, you compete. It's about the money, but also it's about competing. So I think guys are going to compete.
An NFL player can compare to no other athlete I've ever seen. A hockey player, yes, they're tough. A baseball player, stop it. NBA, we'll knock them out.
Soccer?
Like, there are no no men walking around like NFL players.
No.
None. They don't have the mentality.
Why won't it ruin the game, bro?
But I'm gonna tell you the men.
The great players.
The men that we don't think about. And all of us know these men. These young kids who come into college. We bring them in for 2 weeks of training camp.
Yeah.
We give them maybe a hotel room and $500.
That's it.
These kids got families. And in 3 weeks, we use their bodies up and we say, we got to let you go. Man, something has to change with that structure.
And also, too, you said guaranteed contracts will ruin the league. That's the same thought process as saying integration will ruin the league. I'm just saying. You saying they're saying that something like that might change the league.
Listen, back down, youngster. They got guaranteed money. Is your money guaranteed? Wait.
We're not risking
is your
our
money
life.
guaranteed?
We're not risking.
Is your money guaranteed?
Guarantee my money.
My money, man.
Hold it.
My money guaranteed.
This is a Hall of Famer. That's a Hall of Famer. You close to putting together a Hall of Fame career. We're talking among great players.
Yeah.
We know there's some guys in the league that are hiding and looking for any excuse to get out of the league. They're not
That's in
all
any
with
business.
y'all's
I know
mentality.
people
that's
in the
okay.
banks is like that too.
Thank you. They robbing people.
That's some owners in the league that don't care about winning, but they still get their money. So don't tell me that just because there's a guy on the team that's not dedicated like the great players are, that everybody else should not get their guaranteed money. For that 10%, there's 90% that's willing to go out there and play through injury. There's 90% that's willing to do anything to win a championship. That 10%, we can live with that. That 90% of the NFL should get contracts.
Some guys don't even have the discipline not to Facebook Live from the locker room,
Okay,
but they got the discipline.
Well, I guarantee if he wasn't standing to make $4 million because he's underpaid as one of the best receivers, he wouldn't have to sign no deal with Facebook Live if the Steelers was paying him.
Preach!
Straight up.
Drop that mic! Drop that mic!
All right, welcome back. Hall of Famer Chris Carter. And joining us, the Cardinals' Pro Bowl safety, LSU strong, Tyrann Mathieu. Congratulations. Let's talk some Julio Jones, who usually lets his play do the talking. But he did admit yesterday that he believes there's nobody in the league who can cover him one-on-one. Julio Jones said this. Jason, we all know Bill Belichick finds creative ways to take out his opponent's top offensive weapon. He's done this through his career. Will Belichick and the Patriots be able to shut down Julio on Sunday?
I think they'll be able to slow him down, but I think Julio will be perfectly fine with that. I think he's been fine with that all year because their other weapons are so enormous and so effective that when you send two people his way, it just opens up things for everybody else. Julio Jones, to me, is a guy that you can slow him, but you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him for a short period of time. He's going to make an impact play. He's too big. He's too strong. He's too disciplined. He's going to be there at some point. Matt Ryan's going to find him, and he'll make an impact play.
Well, the interesting thing to me with Julio Jones, don't become paralyzed trying to stop him. Mm-hmm. He missed 2 games this year, and Atlanta scored 42 and 41. Right. They are so loaded that if you spend so much time on Julio and you don't cover those backs, be careful. I think Bill's saying to himself, listen, we want to keep him under 100 yards. Right. But if you doubling him and rolling coverage over, you will get eaten. This is an all-star. Atlanta's offense is an all-star team. Absolutely. The center's a Pro Bowler. The quarterback's an MVP. The superstar receiver. 2 Pro Bowl level backs. Good tight ends. So I think my concern is that would New England become paralyzed and they would focus too much on him.
Can he be stopped?
I don't think he could be stopped. We played Atlanta earlier this season. I thought Pat did a great job for most of the game, but like you hit on, they got a lot of different weapons. The 2 backs, tight ends, Sanu is playing well, Gabriel is playing well. Yeah. They work the screen game, they work the outside run game. I mean, it's a high potent offense.
Y'all let Pat Peterson play one-on-one? Y'all didn't roll coverage?
For the most of the game. I mean, we gave Pat help from time to time. I mean, that's a smart thing to do. But for most of the game, he had him man-to-man.
Chris, can he be slowed, stopped, what?
Well, Julio Jones, his attitude, I like that because if you ask the top 5 receivers, all of them, you go to Odell, you go to OB, you go to A.J. Green, none of those guys can be stopped. Now, the Pats don't have Patrick Peterson. Okay? So Bruce Arians, when they get the game plan, they know they got Pat on. Now, Pat been gardening about 6 or 7 straight years by himself because they played each other in college, and that's the way they went at it. Pat Peterson is a special guy. Speed, ability to stop on a dime, but also very, very physical. So when you can't match that, you have to give Julio a bunch of different looks. So I like Kyle Shanahan's ability to attack the linebackers of the Patriots with the running backs out of the backfield.
Tyron, when you faced Atlanta, what part of them surprised you? Like you did your film work,
right,
and then you get on a field. Was there something that they were better at than you thought on film?
Absolutely, especially the screen game and the outside run game. You know, you think when you look at Atlanta on paper, you see the big names at wide receivers, and you think they're just going to go downtown with the football. But they work the screen game really well, and the outside running game, as I mentioned, especially with the 2 backs. Anytime those guys get matched up on a linebacker, it is a mismatch.
And that's one thing about New England, it's hard to get their edges. When they play their defensive technique, it's hard to get. They have their linebackers trained to be able to turn it back in. So it's going to be interesting. You know, does Atlanta, do they do their outside run game, or they just keep their gut or inside running game, which they also can do?
Tyron, is he the best receiver in football? You've seen him since college, all the way through the pros. Is he the hardest matchup for a DB?
Absolutely. Man, I've been fortunate. I've never had to check him in a game. Thank Lord. But he's probably the best physical specimen in football right now.
And he's also the worst kind of receiver to guard. Not only is he big and fast and can run the whole route tree, but if he draws a double team and his team is winning, he's not going to say one word because he's not a diva. So he's not going to change or alter the game plan of the coach because he's not shining. If their team is ahead and they're double teaming him, Julio knows that I have done my job, and that will lead to a Falcons victory.
To me, he's always felt a little bit like Calvin Johnson, a little bit in a better organization. Yeah. So he's been able to be flourished because, you know, from ownership down, Atlanta's a good, solid organization. Detroit's had their issues. There's also something that athletes never get credit for discipline. Like you say, that guy's really disciplined. Nobody ever goes, hey, I'm disciplined. Julio Jones, again, his temperament. I mean, he's got a poker face the whole game.
Yes.
Like he doesn't go up, he doesn't go down, he doesn't get, as you said, bothered if he's shut out in the first quarter. This is a guy that can be shut out for 3 quarters, and then the fourth, he has 4 catches, burns you. Facial expression never changes.
Let me tell you who he is, and it's a good way to segue and wrap this up, and it fits perfect for both of you guys. He's Terrell Owens' body with Larry Fitzgerald's discipline. And Larry Fitzgerald just can't announce he's coming back for another season. I'll first start with you, Kyle. Are you surprised that he's coming back for another season? And then, Chris, you give us some insight on what he was thinking.
No, I'm not surprised at all. Obviously, I know Fitz personally, man, and he has this deep, burning desire to win a championship, and he's still playing at a high level. He knows what he means to the team and to our organization, and so I wasn't surprised when he announced that he was coming back.
Very quick, what happened to y'all this year?
Well, some years it be like that. You have some adversity, but I believe in my team. I believe in our coaching staff. We'll get this thing right.
Chris, Larry, you surprised?
Larry, I've mentored Larry since he was 13 years old, so he's special to me. Besides my son, Deron, he's the most special young man I ever met. There's no guy that I have imparted more to that he took the information and applied it to his life. I'm so proud of him. I knew he wasn't going to retire, but I couldn't say anything. Also, next year, Super Bowl 52 happens to be in Minneapolis, where my boy is from. He's hoping to go out at US Bank Stadium as a champion.
Welcome back to the show. Greg Jennings and Jason McIntyre join the panel for one final topic. Let's move to Bill Belichick, who will make his record 7th Super Bowl appearance as a head coach on Sunday. Belichick has also appeared in 3 Super Bowls as an assistant coach, meaning he's been involved in 10 of the 51 Super Bowls ever played, prompting Troy Aikman to suggest the league rename the Lombardi Trophy after the Patriots coach. Colin, do you agree with Troy?
Well, I don't agree. All right. In an interesting side note, 25% of Super Bowls have been won by either Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh, Bill Cowherd, or Bill Parcells. So there's a little Bill of Rights here thing going on. But I think Lombardi stands I like the idea of a Midwestern, Rock of Gibraltar, square-chinned Vince Lombardi. Baseball's a sport of history. Too often we forget it in sports. Lombardi makes us look back and appreciate football 50 years ago. I like it the way it is.
Yeah.
Look,
All right, that's just nice.
Bill Belichick is just too polarizing for that award.
Yeah.
His name would carry some baggage. Look, Vince Lombardi may have skirted the rules just as much as Bill Belichick allegedly has, but we don't know that. So there's no reason to remove Lombardi's name from the trophy. If you want to honor Bill Belichick, who I do think has a case and is the greatest coach in football history, name the Coach of the Year award after Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I think he's respected universally among coaches. When you start naming the Super Bowl after him and bringing that back,
I don't think I'd want that. I don't think I'd want anything named while I'm coaching.
Yeah, no, and I think that's an issue that I have with it. While he's coaching, absolutely not. And then even after he's coaching, no. I'm going to address one. The dress code alone, with just the sweater, like, I mean, I can't, no, but I don't, it wasn't originally in honor of the coach who won the most championships.
Are you a Packers homer?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
I was birthed into that organization.
But you know what? It's also, let's give Green Bay, the smallest market in American professional sports, let's give them some love, because you wouldn't give Green Bay a franchise today. The fact that they have one and they're fantastic speaks really well to the league.
But here's the weird part, Colin. You go online now and everybody's like, hey, I'm behind this. Let's change it. Because remember last year in the NBA, should we take Jerry West off the logo, replace him with Michael Jordan, LeBron? No. You don't forget the past. You learn from it. I got that off a fortune cookie.
You celebrate.
But seriously, you don't want to change. What are you going to change the Heisman Trophy and name it after Tebow or something? Come on, it's silly. Come on.
To the Packers, do you think they take pride in that?
Tebow lovers in here.
Absolutely. The Packers definitely take pride in it. When we won in 2010, it was bringing the Lombardi back home.
Yeah.
That was the mantra. That was the goal. That's everyone's goal, but it fits right there back home. And then we have to remember why it was named the Lombardi Trophy. After a sudden death of cancer that he experienced and his family endured, that's when the trophy got renamed in 1970. So it wasn't so much about how many championships or wins he had. It was because they were doing it as an honorary deal.
Nice little history lesson.
And it was also, Lombardi created the first football system.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's a football system. I think the Lombardi Trophy of all the trophies is the trophy. Chris Carter, Hall of Famers with us. Joining the panel now, Greg Jennings, Fox NFL analyst, multiple Pro Bowl. Let's go to San Francisco. Surprised everybody by hiring John Lynch as the new general manager, our friend, which is exactly how he wanted it. Lynch says he was concerned about the reports of constant leaks with the Niners, and he asked the team to keep his candidacy under wraps to test if he could, quote, trust the building. Jason, do you believe Lynch tested the Niners' ability to keep a secret?
Yes and no. And again, keep in mind, I don't know how this is going to turn out. I know John Lynch. I think he's a smart guy. Hopefully it'll turn out well. But I don't think the test he's talking about, I think he's a smart person, a really smart person, and knew that if this leaked out before he got the job, then it had a chance, the idea had a chance of being killed by the media, by fan reaction. The 49ers could have gotten scared off. If this leaks and they got 2 or 3 more days before they make the hire, the uproar from the public and the media could have scared ownership. The worst thing you can do to an idea is share it with too many people. They have an idea. They're trying an original idea of how to approach their situation in San Francisco. They went and hired someone with not a lot of experience. They're playing a gut feeling. They're basing it off his personality. If you share that with too many people, it's going to get killed before it ever gets off the ground.
The one thing I like that John did, it shows me that John has integrity. Because of all the things John worried about was a leak. That's what he worried about. A leak is a lack of integrity. We've all worked for a team, a company, stuff ends up on the internet. Like, I can handle average performance. But if the family is talking behind my back, in teams, in sports, in broadcasting, that's a problem. I think John questioned John tested their integrity. It tells me he's going to develop an integrous organization. That I like. Will he succeed? No idea. But I like his direction.
I like that someone is afforded the opportunity because he is a smart football player. Now, as far as it being true, the John Lynch that I know is a man of integrity, is not a prankster, is not about shenanigans. Now, he's a guy's guy, but he's serious about his business. That's the way he's always been. Everyone who knows him knows that he's been pretty consistent through his college, through his pro career, and through his broadcasting career. Now, that ability to know from the beginning, at least that you have a chance. Because a lot of times, these jobs, they sound like they're good, but everything is slanted against you to lose. For instance, I like Hugh Jackson, but everything is slanted against him to lose. At least John has a chance. And now that John has a chance, as you start to see, Troy Aikman voiced his opinion about the potential opportunity as being a general manager. And there are other players that might have an interest in this. So John is a man of integrity, and I'm happy that someone like John, after a few days of thinking about it, because a lot of coaches had to get passed over, a lot of grunt scouts and everything, but you can trust in John Lynch. And what he said, he's a man about action.
Yeah, and he's played inside the locker rooms. He's played on teams where he understands the importance of what you just alluded to, family, and keeping things in-house. And when you go into a situation and you put something out and you say, I want this to stay concealed, undisclosed, and then it become disclosed, that lets you know where things are from an inside-out perspective. And I think to what you're saying is, he's a man of integrity. He understands business. He does things the right way. We've all been around him, both as player, analyst, worked with him, alongside of him, played against him for many years. He understands what it takes to win, and it's just about getting the right people around him to support that cause.
First pro team I covered was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. John Lynch was a part of that. Very few players have an ability to lead without great volume or with scarcity of words. When John talked, people listened. And what John said, people heard. I think it's going to work if he gets the right people under him, but his integrity, clearly from his first move, is a priority, and that organization could use some integrity.
Listen, I've been distracted the last 30 seconds here. We're going to have a conversation with Greg Jennings. I set the style, meter, tone on this show.
My brother,
what is going on around
he got a collar, he got a leather collar, he got a band on, he got a Super Bowl ring on.
I set the standard as it comes to dress on this show.
I told you we're more than icing. That's a wide receiver there.
We'll wear something later about it.
You skating on thin ice, bro.
This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Remember, subscribe on iTunes, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We're here in Houston all week. It's a lot of fun. Great energy, great vibes. The studio crowd is killing it. We'll talk to you tomorrow.